pencil. Here is something you can't understand. Cypress Hill. Kid had already been nerves with Pia, but when Luther, passenger side, turned around, there went what nerves do. Welding out like a woofer on a surge. Breath rasping short. Joints socketed, stuck. Kid stiffs out in front of them all. Not like all here are that much looser. Hey, Pia's hung with Luther for years. They met at Lupita's table, ate Mrs. Pancakes, ashed together more bowls of Lupita's fine ass weed than a Marine's got mags to load, and still there are times she gets to freeze. Like all she sees is what Luther's been put on this earth to do. Juarez too. Victor for certain, padlocking knees. Only Tweety's the exception. He like a mountain anyway, a mountain ready to move. And move this motherfucker can. Even if he just dropped his eyes from the rear view out of shame for a kid when a kid climbed in. That's right, Hijo. Luther half tempted to say it. Roar it. You don't got shit on this pocho, but still you know. Or you know what you need. Should run and hide. Should seek out another life. But Van Door's already slid tight. Say hello to cold. How cold can get. Can't suck in one breath. Nothing but try this boy. Gonna get himself hurt. Got himself hurt. Still earbutting Snoop Dogg. Tupac. Wants to act a part. Black Dickies. 1059 Los Angeles. CAT. Broken down. Pumas. Luther never seen. Feet that big on a kid. What? 14 Adidas. Jacket black. 2 all billowy. Some stupid bling. Dangling around. His flabby neck. Not even mall. Gold. Like this be plastic. Shit. All scratched up. And chipped. Man, homie needs some new gear. Victor said. Still Luther's surprised. See him coming up with that grin. Either stupid or crazy. Ooh, what's your name? Luther asked. Ho ho ho. Got a fucking stutter too. Pia had to help out with his own name. Hopi. Hopi Manitou. Umalandro. He coming up. Ho o la cupa papasa. You telly our mama. Pia asked. Locked the. Van Door. Sha mi madre don't care. Que cold. What the fuck, right, Hopi man? 2. Can't look. Luther in the eye. Can't look no one. In the eye. Looks around like he stutters. All over the place. Too scared to say it, let alone see it. Fuck. It too. Scared to even be it. Would say whatever anyone wants him to say. See whatever anyone wants him to see. So. Afraid he unbelievable. To some placa deputy. Da, even to himself. Casualty in training. Day. 1 Punkit County. Only Hopi's hair toss him a line. Strandy black shit dangling over his forehead, thick with rain, dripping all over this Jodo's face. But it's enough. Kid suddenly reaches up, both hands crazy long fingers too, and all delicate, like some bitch or harp player, all agile, handling the mess, twisting it, slicking that shit behind his ear like Luther was his fucking principal, and thinking on himself sitting behind some big desk, running a school, dealing with punks. Sent by with demerits for discipline, dealing out that scared straight shit. Now that shit got. Luther grinning, held out a fist then, knucks and a nod. Why? Not kid's hands so light hinno even there. Goes goofy on his face, skin like wet cement. But shinier. You'd think Christmas come early. At least he breathing again. Hopi Manitou, Curioso, Extrao. Big for sure, but disappearing at the same time. Teeters heel to heel before squashing down beside Pia as Tweety gets the van rolling again into hillside. Traffic. Luther shows Hopi both fists then. First out and together. Thumb on thumb. Then wrist over wrist, little finger on little finger. Fists. Left thumb up with knuckles in. Right thumb down with knuckles in. Fists. Right thumb up with knuckles in. Left thumb down with knuckles in. Fists. Both thumbs down, knuckles in. Left thumb up. Right thumb up. Knuckles in. Fists. 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 Here's Luther's dance. Hella dark. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Washington's to Grants. Franklin's to Hamilton's. Fuck all the presidents. A to the M, M to the Z. Mexico. Califas. 13. Forever things. Nahuatl. Aztec. Fuck the cross. Fuck your Glock. Fuck the virgin in this fire. No weapon gonna lame down. No man, all my scars testify to that. Rivers of blood, stacks of bone, oceans of black, oceans of red, bread as black as oceans of dead, and a face who's nothing but all oceans dead. She dead too, and that's just the back of his hands. Wrists are a whole other story. Elbow to shoulders. Should see Luther's chest, his back too, and his face. Forget his face, though. None ever do. Nothing but ink. At least Luther's fists make sense. Guns, pussy, and dough. This don't. Just like guns, pussy, and dough. Luther gave Hopi a double bump. Christmas came twice. Who knew what this wobbly kid was about, but no question he was pleased. Even after Pia yanked him back down among the gas canisters and threw a rag over his face. To dry himself, the kid kept holding up his fists, like he could see through the rag, like now his fists glowed. Luther had loosened himself then into a long arm stretch, joints cracking like they all be breaking. Yawned, too, like what the fuck's up with this day already? This rain, this kid catch him licking windows, counting grass, making up smiles over how traffic lights change. Pia said his madre was some tar fiend. Sold her balloons for years, some other cross for years before that. So a kid born with half a lobe like Hopi, that gonna come as a shock. The thing is then, why someone like Teo should take to menace such a tapado. Hopi could be like his son. Luther catching some cloudy convo long ago about a teenage kid live. Ing still in Mexico City, wearing black and pink, mascara, emo. Luther had asked, Mikoso. Teo had seethed, taking some Papi Pito in a Zona Rosa back stall. You the kid I want out in front of me, Teo had also said, and said it more than once, in different ways, giving Luther work, but never call. Ing at work, calling it opportunities, and where Lupita alone be enough to warn anyone from her corners. Teo moved through any neighborhood block like not even a city be big enough to put down as his. Vado had reached, even if 60s are nearly ditched, still coming, across like a new breed. Made Lupita's coming, up 50 look old-fashioned. Not that Teo marches in the balloon parade, carries less cash than a fiend cock-rocking on Figueroa Street. No more a fiend than he'd be caught dead on Figueroa Street. Straight, Amex, legit, expensive suede and pleats. The only guy Luther had ever seen wear cufflinks. Teo was already done with Lupita when Luther came on. The last few times, years gone by, sitting at her kitchen table with his briefcase, no more interested in her tequila or pancakes than his own tea. No chains, no ink, just some vial. Lit shirt, lemon jacket, pants pale as coconut. Like some old Mexican gentleman Cumto talk about pampas and trade horses. But Luther had never seen Lupita so cautious. Trucha, fool, like Luther's, gonna start shit with anyone who walk like he gatless and still make the guns in the room gutless. Luther heard Teo was all la ame their Mari, posa on the outside though, hard to believe. The old man knew anything worse than some hotel room, let alone a prison cell. Rumors had him living at the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills when he wasn't in Hawaii or Buenos Aires, Santiago, Tokyo or some shit. Vato had reach, Sur Tres Sur Sure, or 14 Varios up and down the coast, lots of coasts, Rifa world over. When Luther and Pia would be dazing on thick blunts, Lupita gone afternooning on her own, 'cause no way you could talk this shit around her. Even drop the name Teo and she'd shut that shit down, serve you up platefuls of grief. All of them knowing better, waiting for her to dip loose before airing between coughs what new nest they heard of, that this Teo be serve. Ing up even Crips, Bloods too, any Lantis work. Ing curbside or a strip, drifting for Lana. Bong hits later they had Teo up with Norteos before Luther and Pia could tell they were too high to know the difference between the shit they flinging and the shit they'd slid in. Mexico City was somewhere in Teo's past, which Ifa Dakat there, played out. Smaller cities too. Worked for plaza bosses at first, This was way before Zenobio Flores Pacheco or Felipe de Jes Sosa Canizales. Became one when he was young, but never had nothing to prove. Worked his solution and said nada. Soon Teo was like some kind of Radio Shack manager. Fuck plazas. They'd heard he come up in those super labs deep in the Yucatan Jungay, or outside Chicolisl them that came around to dominate Colombian bullshit, and all their trade routes, before the real war started, Sinaloa, the Gulf, Beltran Leyva. Bodies dropped pings so fast, too many to bury, more than US at war in Iraq. Teo again, somehow in the mix, and Lupita kept her peach lips zipped. Even if everyone knew Teo was a big part of the Balloon Parade, they kept marching out citywide. And then one day, by chance, strolling along near Alvera Street, suitcase in hand, jacket bright as pear, shirt like mango, cufflinks all gold, there was Teo. Luther said what he had to say, and Teo answered him. It takes guts for someone already set like you to risk such an offer. And after that, not Lupita, not no one, needed to know about this shit. Not that word didn't finally leak out, especially when Luther found himself with not one crib but two, three even, AEWC of say play, true, to, exclude, boo, off, say, lim, some, coup, ablay, not, so she, on he, owned outright, and a fourth if he counted, dogs, but that was a lease and rides of those he had his choice, by day, by night. And even when Luther made the shift to quit all of Lupita's reglas, even if they already knew, Luther didn't give up nada, told them only he was recently re-employed. That right, re-employed, homie. Since when were you ever employed? Manager now. Manager where at Radio Shack? Showplex 8 seconds was cold now, had nothing more to offer him. Still, Luther goes back. Doesn't make sense. Last night especially, could have crashed plenty of places. His, theirs, new girls or old trues. Carmelita over at Dogs just begging him to get at her. Ready, set, go, give Rosario a show. Except Luther wakes up at Lupita's with no clue. Started out in the black Dodge Avenger, but ends up with a burgundy Durango parked off Baxter. Talk about Borracho. Turlado, Pia says. Who knows what? Lips bit with salt and lime. Head churning from the mix. Drugging on something mean. Almaraz still getting the dumb idea Luther could be messed with. Lucky it cost him only a bleed from his nose. Lupita lucky too. Luther not liking her standing by the sink, coughing so hard like that, all old and weak. Even after she nearly ripped out the hair of some shorty on her knees grabbing at Luther's feria. I can leave the key, he had said before he left, but Lupita wouldn't take it. Ality reserves the right to change her mind, was all she said, like she always said, like she really was a lady and not something else, like it give her some authority, give her the slack to do as she please, without consequence. True Blee was Luther was consequence, and if Lupita didn't know it, Teo did. The connect was almost too easy. Pia knew Hopi. Kid idolized her, followed her around like some fucking puppy. That's because I know you. How Pia told it to Luther. Me, he's seen you around, worships you like some god. Not on no cross though. If this got to be religion, then let it be on pyramids by knife law, law of fury, law of sacrifice. After the next intersection, Tweety had pulled into one of the bays of El Porvenir auto body. Victor slid the side door open and hopped in. Easy as rain. Quiet as what comes after rain. Doesn't even need to ask what all this is, who's the boy, just slumps down by the copper pipping and toolboxes. Victor's skin is like copper. Eyes too. Even his hair has these copper streaks, like he does something to the black. Though he, estai di Saint Nele SPN up un, the she sha, ha, arm. Flop, Utah, Kraz, not, bolt, jag, swears he doesn't most of the time. Anyway, tucked up under his LA King's cap. Like today, Oakley's on too, darking even. The darkest, Victor likes throwing out, with a laugh, flashing signs, finger gats, doing as he always does. With his engine-loving hands, Adolfo want to get with you when you got time. Darking the darkest, Victor had taken a long stare at Hopi, then gave it back to Luther. Didn't need to know nothing to know Luther wouldn't let no unknown in on this unless it was cool or spoke for. Near Cesar Chavez and Hazard, Tweety picked up their last, the real loco, bouncing out from under the shelter of a bus stand, scrambled into the van before it even stopped. Already talking shit about Lot 13, Garrity Loma. Inside he shook off the rain like the perro sarnoso he is. Handlebar mustache, shaggy sideburns and arms like patched up inner tubes, all loose and floppy, but with this stupid long reach, orangutan reach, plus forearms like Popeye, and crazy fists like when they closed there was nothing left of muscle or tendon. Just anchor, bolts and broken glass, all of him brutal and jagged that way. Fingernails out of control. Had Juarez ever cut them, or do they just tear off with all the scratching he get at? Those nails even got Luther once. Luther stepped ping between Juarez and Victor when both of them had started foaming and spitting over some latest Xbox dilemma. Luther catching a slash across his arm, didn't even draw blood, just rippled the skin. Next morning, though it was boiling, Luther poured hydrogen peroxide on it, poured gasoline on it, finally had to get a shot to clear that foulness up. Juarez became his dirty jackal, his razor paw. Juarez had dozens of names. Even Juarez wasn't his real name. Not that he needed a name, so long as he had something to chew on. Victor was something else. The black clinging under those nails is only petrol black. He their manic mechanic, Ranfla Repo. No driver in this crew comes close if fast how going's gotta go how Victor goes to Angela's crest whenever he can. Ride those bends on whatever wheels are on hand. Flaring signs, a tota madre. Especially in that Camaro he fondles daytime to dawn. Piaz where she caught easy dicking his backseat armrest like he backdooring some even stop. Laid it down like it is. Like what bitch? Perugia didn't, is ever gonna be fast as this. Another reason to keep Tweety or Pia driver side, fuck getting jacked by a couple off 50 seconds cause Victor lost his head fiending for RPMs by some bullshit school crosswalk. Ass quick and out of control Victor gets behind a wheel, he level and even quicker. Under the hood, massaging, managing, making racers out of burrows, monsters out of cans. Victor even made this Dodge van fly, and it's what? 15, 20 years in the hole. Underneath though, the kit's rebuilt RC Pro-Am retool, while outside, even with a bubble window on the side, is all fence paint, old style, like picket and white. Back window even has one of those family decals. Tweety said the sticker made their rig look legit. Friendly too, Luther agreed. What Popo gonna argue with that? None have. Los Perros Viejos construction, licensed, bonded, ready to serve. And when this Patasuica had asked which set of bones was him, talk about pleased when Luther answered, Juarez, you the dog. And when Juarez laid eyes on Hopi, he cried flaquillo, as if he'd already made up his mind about something no one, not even Luther, could guess. Thumped Hopi hard on the shoulder too, before jumping back to the spare tanks of nitromethane strapped to the side. Oral, Pew's ready to roll with some real vatos those, nails clawing some real reek out of the air. Like Batterbrain here's ready for shit. He can barely handle Juarez in a good mood. Imagine how he'll do when Juarez stirs up mind all. Hopi just sang out, I I am. Luther again mystified why anyone, let alone Teo, especially Teo, would want shit to do with this mancha, living in some shit shack with his spaco puffing mother, one talonera survival. Ist, another hanging himself, on plastic bling no fool will ever think to see, let alone believe let alone thief. Juarez bouncing on his heels, close on this. Eat. Vic. Neo, like maybe Hopi is something Tor only darking Juarez, because Juarez is the one to watch when Loco gets hungry. Pia. 2. Picking sides sliding closer to the boy. Only. Hope he's oblivious. Raw raining so much. Just go out in your drow swimming. You like swimming? Luther asked. Hope he didn't answer. Hungry then? Pia had to answer for him. He's starved. Hope he can't even answer Luther about breakfast. Pia, though, played it right. Got this pendejo at ease. Flat smile of hers working its settle-down magic. Likely the reason this kid climbed into Thevin in the first place. Gotham gulping down that bullshit about noticed and noticed by who's significativo. Bullshit if it wasn't... Can't call Teo anything but significativo. But how? The fuck that even happened? It took Luther years to get one word in with Teo. Luther's never seen this billowy garbage bag until today. Outside, the rain had come on like it was thunder, with no need for thunder, like an ocean up there discovered a deeper bottom. And they the bottom, beating on the van roof for more bot. Tom, gonna beat through. Weight never rests until there is none. Hopi even leaned in on Pia for shelter, and Pia offered it despite what her own ink says about shelter. Tear after fucking tear, head to toe. She her own fucking rainstorm, bottomless, in her own rage. If this kid had any idea. At IHOP, Juarez started to quiet, but it took 5 coffees black. He hadn't stopped yapping about some Rio Vista Park, El Monte shit, cats turning up, nearly skinned, gutted, skulls sucked clean, calling out Tweety, Luther too. Luther nearly had to quiet the fool. Then Victor took over with this Florida story. Happy family. Has the honey life. Wet wife, 13-year-old son. Driveway. Garage behind the driveway. Boat in the driveway. Denali in the driveway. Pulling in. 90G legal. Victor going on in that deliber. 8-way of his. But son come up sick. Doctors order these tests. That DNA too. Because the weird-ass shit in his blood might be, you know, inherited. Comes out then son isn't even his real father. Some zero his bitch. Was hidden years. And years ago hadn't seen since. Couldn't have seen since. Real father was dead before the boy even screamed free of her trench. Got himself wrecked after drinking too much. He dead how many years? Juarez grunted, slurping his cup without touching. His cup. Boy's 13, Pia snarled. You do the math. How many years? Juarez grunted again, no longer slurping his black. 13. Hope he spoke up. Kid was that stupid. At least Victor was helping out too. How the fuck would I? Juarez answered, eyeing Hopi darker than any Oakleys on Oakleys. Went back, told his wife. She denied it, said none of it was true. Only when he showed her the DNA shit did she cop to it being true. And then he blew off her head with a gauge. Went to the boy then and the boy said he couldn't know cause he'd known only one dad. Ace still blew off his son's head, then lockjawed on both bar. Relsam put his own self all over the plasma. Pinche pedo, Juarez growled. Why kill his self? Luther got over the first plate of sausage to Juarez, but Pero wasn't touching nothing, scowling at the kid like scowling was fed. Some serious problem there, could breed worse if Luther didn't keep tight on it, and he had to keep tight on it, because Juarez had no say here. Not on any day, but especially not today. Everyone ate plenty but Hopi outate everyone. Even Tweety. Like kid never knew eating before. Almost won over Juarez, who's almost curious enough to lose the scowl, watching, almost sniffing, jaw slacker and slacker, as Hopi don't stop ordering up, shoveling down, saying thanks, talk and luck, Christmas for the 3rd time, but he still couldn't look at Luther. At most a soft twitch, above his brows, burn on his cheek, like he crushing or something, which Luther okayed, cause he keep reminding his crew who this kid is here for. The server too giggled for Hopi, then got all Hopi-like for Luther, eyes aside, whole body twitching while taking his order. Split decision. Today, Luther will look anything in the eye, LWHFIN, thing hiding their eyes. No, hips here just tits, might deserve a hit. Though, no Chula Vista, water park, nothing that splashy, still he'd take something, Take something even. Now, grab that wrist, lock that elbow, run her back to some IHOP office shit. Or restroom, squat her on the can, or just a straight crack to both kneecaps. One button, one zip, get busy with that mouth. Make her eyes meet his. Happy Mother's Day this. Watch them widen, choking on his thick. Nod as he tell it clear then. Show her both fists. How he'll beat both eyes closed if she don't. Swallow every last drop. Dry bitch. Leave me dry, he'd say. And Luther, thinking on this here, thinks again of that shorty this morning, back there, who Lupita jerked aside by the hair. Luther'd like to sink knuckles in that hair too. Round two. In Lupita's crib too. Kitchen even. Luther seeing he'd have to get back there again though. Getting even thicker. More coffee. The IHOP slave had asked him. At some point. Luther don't even drink coffee. Touched her. Wrist though. Her flinch made him grin. Not. Her nostrils though. Too big to worth the trip. Find other shifts. Where she lives. Wait out a night. Give her something to really flinch on. Give me your name. Quantel, Tag said Sheila. Like that. Nails lettered in glitter. Reach for it briefly. I don't like people knowing my real name. Blush then. Though blush on thick. Twitchin' still more. Nail said twerk workin'. Give my boy your number. I'll take yours. Tweety had signaled her over. One of his phones already out. The whole time Hopi kept low in the menu like it's some kind of book. Pia kept him ordering. Mother hand every pause. Workin' twerkin' Quantel for more bacon, waffles, and crepes. Splashers, scrambled eggs, French toast, and a grilled cheese. Victor shook his head. Extra cha-cha cheese. You like bigger on the inside than the outside. And you got a pretty big outside. Baba big punisher. Big pun gay. Pia added. Punk, Juarez had hissed. Come mierda. IHOP's never empty pot. Not helping no more. And empty too. Where'd that Naugasona? With the nostrils go. Victor keeping it easy though. Almost makes Tweety look delicato. Don't. He. Hopi laughed. Even Juarez laughed. Tweety too, though no one makes Tweety look dainty. Except Tweety. When he acts. See him catch a cat and you'll know. Waiting by the register now, thinking on all this, Luther digs for a wad. Between a sputter and hitch, Hopi asks if he can throw in. No man, this on me, Luther says, waving the key away. Hopi grins again, all swaying and dopey. Juarez don't grin. Never dopey. What you got? The dirty dog spits. Scowls. Back. Not a surprise. Usually mean after he eats. Happier when he's hungry. Elbows. Swinging side to side. Hands anchored now in his back pockets. Deep back pockets. Fails. Always something mean back there. Once pulled out a hand grenade. Hopi shrugs. Nervous. But Pia don't come to no rescue. Not Luther neither. Show me. Hopi hesitates. Empty the fucking pockets, Jodo. Juarez snarls. Turn 'em out. I do it, I rip 'em out. And I'll rip out more than your pockets. Juarez chitters if still. Dead serious. At least Hopi gets that much right. Turns out his pockets quick. Only wrappers and lint. Not even a phone. Not even keys. Just one blue pencil. Not whole either. Just the nub. Eraser long gone. Chewed off. Whole thing chewed on. You want a blue pencil? Juarez asks Luther, sly as shit, like he scented it, dug it up, dropped it right there on Luther's back deck. Luther just wants the waitress. Get something. More off her. Doesn't know what. A look, a word, another flinch. Make something more of. This Virga he doing everything not to rub. But, she gone. Probably in some IHOP back office too, wanting him, hiding from him, cold sweats, maybe in some stall fingering herself. Whatever. What matters don't matter. So what she got big? Nostrils so long as she lookin'. Down. Luther can find her. Just not now. And Juarez knows it. Probably why he keepin' this sly grin. All happy, panting, tongue licking the corner of his mouth. Might as well be Drew Lynn. Some crazy chingon, this one, who no fool should corner but don't go for getting shit and corner Luther either. This what you gonna throw in? Luther demands, slowly turning over Hopi's pen. Still not even a pencil. Terror tightens around the child's eyes. Finally something about Hopi that isn't wobbly. Terror doesn't wobble. It knows what it is. Cheeto, you know, Luther glad. That familiar taste of metal starting to answer fear. Though Luther swallows. Not here. He'll use the bullshit. Gesture later. I was gonna Putin work for it. Hopi. Tries. Even throws in some stupid ass swagger. Gonna. Sorry. Why, he will. Like he Ponches or even Moreno Leos. God. That reversed. Or not. Morelos. Highway scan. Mark all their ways. Something not even half. His age can mark his. What the fuck was Teo's beef with this thing? Luther still can't ditch the question. Curiosity. Keeps overturning his taste for doing. You will work. Sigh. Jail. More bullshit, but Luther knows it's what he won't need. Not even worth laughing. Nothing tightening around Hopi's eyes now. Just wobbly again. Unsure. Alone. Worst of all. Longing. Luther hands him back his blue pencil and slaps him on the back. I already told you, Hopi, you got it on me, pinch it. Free. Even the boy's back wobbles. Remy dead.